ये बात हाँ ओके चलो गिरमिटिया के बारे में बात करो करी जाए इसके बारे में जानो तो ये I mean जितना जानना उतना बताना इंग्लिश में राइट
वही कहाँ इस वेट करना
हाँ
anyone
okay so let's talk about Girmitiyas so what was the Seven's day-to-day life like? What do you think what they were doing when they first came to Fiji? Like there were problems with Fijians, somebody eating sugarcane farm and problems. So you have any idea what was the problems you must have heard from your parents?
तो पीछे करना बंद करो ना मैं तो उसमें द्विच एकदम मिक्स कर दिया क्वेश्चन तो ऊंचे
So what was the Seven's day-to-day life like?
These people only on Sundays, that's what I heard. I actually was not there at that time. I heard the stories from my parents that these people are working right from they wake up at in the morning at about by 4 o'clock, but 5 o'clock they should be ready after having their morning meal or breakfast. And then the sardar will come and then ask them, oh, come on, you have to go to work, and they will be allocated in certain areas to go and work on the farm. So they were being given tasks. Sometimes they were given tasks, sometimes they were working on the daily basis, and then by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock they return home with their main tools was hoe, knife, fork, spade. That's what I heard from my parents. This was the main tools with them all the times. And they were being, when they came to Fiji, they were being provided with these small houses, about 8 by 6 or something like that. That's what I had, very small, to live in with
They were provided small houses.
They were provided with small houses with 8 by 6 or something like that. That's what I had. And they will be with their family, husband, wife, and maybe 2 children. That was the accommodation they were being provided. And before 5 o'clock, they should be ready with having their meals. And then they should be ready to go and work on the farm. And they were allocated plots to work on it.
Well, they were supposed to be in the field from sunrise till sunset.
ऐसे बोल रहे
टाइम नहीं बोल
ओहो
वो जमाना टाइम नहीं रहा I mean पढ़ा लिखा आदमी का टाइम पता रहे खाली उनके काम रहा सबरे से संदा तुम खेत में रहो right okay इला में बताना मैं so how many hours a day did they work in the field?
They were working right from the sunrise to the sunset. So these were the hours they were being given to finish their day's work.
So what was their contract from India when they first came? What were they promised?
What I have heard that they've been promised that that Fiji Island is just close to India, and people have been fooled by the people who were recruiting these people that India is very close, you will be paid a high amount of money, is much better than India, and within a year or so you will get a lot of money and you will be given sovereign every day. So I mean, what in what manner they have recruited, so they have influenced these Girmitiyas. And that's how these people, they came to Fiji in hope of getting sovereign, good amount of money to be paid. So that's how the Girmitiyas came to Fiji.
How many laborers died in the course of their contract? How many you think people died, they got sick or they got hurt or like they were like...
See during that time, they were not very not good health services. We'll say health services were off. There wasn't any health services provided in Fiji. They may be given just like Panadol or something like that, or if you have been cut, bandage, that's all. And health services were not good, and for that purpose most of the people may have died. That's what I have heard, that most of the people have died with the fever, flu, diarrhea and all sorts of diseases, because there was no proper treatment for them.
What happened if a labor wanted to break his contract?
If labor, he can't break his contract. That's what's for sure. If he wants to break his contract, then he get the whip from the officers. The officers were the European people under whom they were working. Even if they want to break or run away, where they going to run away, where they going to stay? Only one was the major thing the people were doing those time. Either, that is the main thing, they have to commit suicide by drowning or by hanging. That's all. Even that during those days there was no parakot to drink. But these were the two major way of to commit suicides.
What is parakot?
Parakot is it's a weedy side to kill the grasses, but this is strong enough. If you take about half a glass, the patient will die within 12 hours. If you take more, the patient will die for, say, about in a few hours.
So why they brought Indians from India? Why just they couldn't use Fijians? And
truly speaking, the Fijians can't. They were not able to work in time, or they were not interested in working because the land belongs to them, and they were very literate people, or we say they were non-literate people during those days. So Europeans thought that Indians all over the world, because Europeans have gone to India and they have known Indians, that how hard-working people the Indians are. So that's why the Indians have been brought to Fiji to work on the copra, cocoa, cotton, sugarcane farming, to work on it.
What are the behaviors were punished, and what were the punishments?
What I have heard from my parents and the people, the older peoples, I heard from the people who have been in indentured system, they said it was a horrible one. They were being kicked, the wives were being raped, and if you don't listen to them, whatever they command, you get the whip. And those whips were being used for the horses or the bullocks. But these people were worse than the bullocks and the horse during that time, the way they were being treated.
So who was doing all these things, beating and raping and murdering and
this CSR company, Coral Sugar Refinery Company men, mostly they were the Europeans from Australia and England. These are the people who have brought these Indians, and these are the people who were ill-treating the indentured peoples.
what happened to sardars or overseers who killed Indian laborers through beating or other punishments? Did anything happen to them, sardars, or like people who did all these bad things to the Girmitiyas?
What I had, maybe one or two have been punished, but otherwise there was no control on them. No one controls them that you should not punish them. Under the agreement, what I had, that they should not punish the people. They should treat the people as in human beings. But they were not treated in a human way.
What kind of medical care, educational opportunities or recreational opportunities were available at that time, if there was any?
To my knowledge, there were none.
What? None what?
None of the medical services, maybe only a few medicines were given to them, but as far as the soccer grounds or rugby grounds or any other sports, these people were not given chances. Only the people of the high dignity, they were given all those things. Even they were going to the nightclubs. Those nightclubs are still present in Fiji in some areas, but the indentured peoples were not allowed to do all those things. Only their source of enjoyment was the holy Ramayana, bhajan or kawali, that's all. But they don't have the instrument as we are having it now. They used the bowl or the pots to play with, to make the music out of that. And they don't have any instruments.
So in what way did the laborers band together to rebel against the plantation authorities? I mean, did anybody rebel against the...
No, they can't make any rebel against the authorities concerned. I mean, the people who have brought them to Fiji. If they go on rebel, for definite they would have been very badly punished. That's what I heard. They can't go against them.
So they were slaves basically.
Of course, as was there a slave.
But repeat, say the whole line.
Of course, they were treated worse than the slaves.
Line फिर से बोलो. They were treated worse than slaves because they were stuck on an island and they had no place to run. They were like killed and made and nobody cared. जोड़ के से बोलो.
They were treated worse than the slaves because they were far away from their own homeland, and it was an island. Fiji is an island, we all know, and all the waters are around them. So if they were being killed or murdered or kicked or whipped, so no one cares.
So did the Girmitiyas and the Fijians have much in contact at that time?
No, they were not, because there was a dialect problem or the communication problem. They don't have any sort of communications. And during that time,
what do you mean by communication?
I mean, they were speaking in Fijian language, whereas the Indians don't know the English, and even those people don't know the English. They know their own language. Even the Indians themselves have the problem in communications, because some of the people, they came from south, some came from the north, and their dialects were different. So even they themselves have the problem in communicating. Then how you can manage, or anyone can manage, that they can have the communication with some foreigner?
फिर से पूरा लाइन रिपीट करो, सीधा बैठा रहना. So did the Girmitiyas and the Fijians had any contact at that time?
To my knowledge, it was not possible, because these people have a dialect problem. Their dialects were different. Even the Indians themselves have the problem with them, because some of them came from the north, some from the south, so their dialects were different. So even themselves, they can't communicate with each other, only through their actions, and slowly when they stay together, then they start speaking the simple Hindi, and that's how the communications among themselves were good, and now it's very good, everyone can understand. And at this stage, now we'll say as the communications between the Indians, Fijians or whatever races are in Fiji, even the Chinese or the Taiwanese or Japanese, they got the communication through the English language.
उला पार्ट फिर से बोला because हिंदुस्तानी लैंग्वेज डिफरेंट और फिजियन लैंग्वेज डिफरेंट तो उला बात कैसे कांटेक्ट करनी दूसरे से उला पार्ट फिर से रिपीट करो.
The Fijian and Indian peoples, their language were vast difference, and in such a condition, how one can get a communication, it will be very hard, right?
Okay, चलिए. So, what would their tropical interreaction be? I mean, so the Indians had their own culture and they minded their own business, and the Fijians had their own culture and minded their own business.
Yes, because when Indians came from India, they were almost about 90% of them were vegetarians, and they don't want to integrate with the other races who were cannibalism. So these Fijian people were eating meats, feeds and all those things. So that makes them away from getting communicated with each other. That may be another factor. So that was gone too long. Slowly when the Indian start eating meat and the education system came in, so the communications brought the people closer to each other.
So what about that guy, Indian guy Andre, who was eating? There was a rumor he ate 100 people. You think there's still rumor Andre or something like?
That's the history. Will say that Mr. Undre have eaten about 99 people in Fiji. And that's what that is the fact, that the people were eating the the Fijian people were eating the human beings. There is no doubt about it, the history says, and at the moment I think there is nothing of that sort.
So that's why they could not work on the sugarcane farm.
Fijians, that is the main reason, because they were, they were in the habit of just feed themselves and then forget about any other thing, because they don't know about the money. Even they were, for the luxury items, that was the nil for them.
Okay. What kind of life Fijians had at that time? They still have the same life back then, or they have a different life now?
No, they have changed. As in the standard of the world, they know how to wear the clothes, they know about the, their eating habits. Before, the history says that they were eating the men or the human beings, and they were just wearing the leaves, and then slowly they started wearing the sulus. And now, once they have mixed around with the other races, now they have gone to the standard of the other people in Fiji.
So what happened to the laborers after they fulfilled their contract? Did any one of them were sent back or what?
They've given an opportunity. Either if they, after the contract, they want to return to India, their passage was open to them, fare was paid to them. If they want, they can return. If they want to stay back in Fiji, they can stay back. So the people who have chosen to stay back, they stayed back in Fiji, and those who have chosen to go back, they have gone back.
So there was also something, they were cheated in their fares. कुछ बोला था तुम के पैसा में जाए में भी चीटिंग कर रहे हैं, कौन से बोला था?
हमने बोला था चीटिंग नहीं करी नहीं कुछ.
Okay. तो ओके आगे आगे चलो. What were the land lease agreement like? पहले जमाना जब हम लीज करते थे तो कैसे रहा?
I mean, do you have to just give them a packet of tobacco or something? The Matangali or the landlord gives the land. There wasn't any lease system during, I mean, at the beginning. But this CSR company, Colonial Sugar Refinery Company, have introduced the lease system. So these were the people who were leasing out the land of 10 acres to each individual. So that's how the Indians got 10 acres of leases with them. And after some time when the Fiji got independence in 1970, then a new law was set up that is called the ALTA, the Agricultural Landlord and Tenant Act came in. So under that act, the people were given 50 years of leases. So those leases start expiring after 50 years in say about 10 years back. And from there on, the leases problems are coming up, and the Indian peoples are without the land as the landlords start taking back their land.
So what you are saying, Indian people have money to buy lands and they had money to buy houses, cars and start businesses, right?
No, not all the Indians. There are only few Indians who came through the proper visa, like Gujaratis from India or the Punjabis from India or the Chinese from India. They came on the proper visa system. They are not the endangered people. Those people came to do the business. Where the people from the north and south, that is called the North Indians or the South Indians, they came as indentured laborers. But the people you see, or the Indian peoples who are in business, these people came purposely for business.
When was the system of labor discontinued?
This thing after the inquiry in India and people came from the, I believe Dr. Amit Chan, he came and visited, even Mr. Gandhi came to visit Fiji, and they've seen their condition was very bad in Fiji, endangered people. So this thing was abolished in 1916, but completely it was taken out in 1920 when their last contract finishes in that year.
So what was the political situation in Fiji back then? There was any political system? Who was Fiji under?
Fiji was under the British government, and British government have brought the legislative council where the people were being chosen, and then slowly it came to the parliament, and then it started running in that manner, and it still exists, parliament and the senate in Fiji.
So when was the independence of Fiji?
Fiji became independent in 1970, and prior to that the people from the legislative council like S.M. Koya, I.D. Patel, Jairam Reddy, Ratu Sekamisri Mara, they went to England and they have made the discussion there, and after discussion then everything was put up in law, and then the British government gave the independence to Fiji Islands. And during that time he has sent the Governor General, and the Governor General was here, and then came, there's one incident happened in 1987 where the coup was led by Major Sitiveni Rambuka, and then the Governor General was taken out, and the president was chosen, and then became the Republic of Fiji. Fiji became Republic of Fiji.
So what were the relation between Indians and native Fijians like at
See, after 1970, when Fiji got independence, Indians and Fijians were coming very close to each other, and they had a very good relationship. But in 1987, when the coup happened, that's the time the relationship between Fijian and Indians have been spoiled. And thus, there is some ill feelings still going on. And then there was another coup in 2000. So, I mean, the root level Fijians or Indians are not directly involved. Only the politicians, these are the people who make the people or gives the people or the root people or the common people very wrong advice. So there are some, not all the Fijians, not all the Indians have the ill feelings, but there may be some.
So when did the free Indians begin to voluntarily migrate to Fiji, and how did this affected Indo-Fijian relations when the people started coming for business to Fiji? I mean, when was it and how?
That was right from the beginning. That is just after indenture system finished. That was in 1920. Since then, these people start coming in slowly, but there were few prior to this.
The different lifestyle of urban Indo-Fijians who came to Fiji as free migrants versus the lives of the indigenous labor and the descendants. What were the difference?
You see, their main purpose was to come, main aim was to come to Fiji to do the business. And whereas the people of the, the children of the indentured people, they were on the farm and they thought the farm is their livelihood, and they were not interested in doing the business because they had no money with them and they don't know the techniques of the business. And still, if you see, the most of the indentured people's sons, they are not in business. Like in Fiji we say they are Gujarati people. They got big factories in Fiji and their business is running in a very good manner, and they are making a lot of profit. Why I am saying making a lot of profit? Because they got so many factories in Fiji, they got so many shops in Fiji, and their income is good. That's why they are making so many buildings, houses. Their business is very good.
How is the different standard of living between Indo-Fijians and native Fijians often led to tension or misunderstanding between two communities?
See, the Fijian got the majority of land in indigenous Fijians. They got the majority of land in Fiji. But what is lacking in them is the education and the hardship, which at this stage they can't bear it. Whereas the Indians, they were being taught right from the beginning, from their forefathers, to work right on the farm and to keep money with them. And whereas if you see anywhere in the world, I'll say anywhere in the world, the native, they don't want to keep more money with them. They don't bother about the money too much. Whatever comes to them, they eat. What they can have, eat, sleep. They have whatever money they have. They can just roam around and all those things. These are the things happening to them. And any people, even like us, we came from, our forefathers came from India. So we don't have any land. We have to think so many times if you spend any single cent, how this money should be spent. I mean, in simple word, we'll say Indians are spending their money wisely, and the other party is not, it will say unwisely, that's all.
About what is now being done to acknowledge the Girmitiyas and their contribution to Fijian development via the Fiji Girmit Council and the Fiji Institution, Apply Study and so forth.
See, right from the beginning.
Wait, heart attack बोलो फिर. वैसे तो हमने भी काटे हैं.
ऑफ करो मत ही. तो अब बोले मतलब कौन सी है इसमें?
Ready? जमे के नहीं?
जमी.
सीधा बैठो, सीधा बैठो.
Right. See, the Girmitiya Centre is being set up in Letoka by all the communities of Fiji, even the government has given some donation, and all the races within the Indian communities, Gujarati, South Indians, Muslims, Punjabis, North Indians, they've all contributed and they have set the Girmitiya Centre in the memory of Girmitiyas. And this place is open to all the races. They can go and do prayer, marriage, any religion ceremony can be held at that place. Even the churches can be held there. Stage show can be held there. Boxing can be conducted there. It's a big building. So once the people entered into that compound, the Girmitiya Centre, they got 12 acres of state land, and it's being given by the government. So that place is for in the memory of Girmitiyas, and that will maintain the name of the Girmitiyas forever.
तुम भूल गया कि बोले कि because of the Girmitiyas and the labors, Fiji has its name. समझ गया.
And as far as the Fiji where it stands now, this is the hard work of the Girmitiyas, that they have made the road around the Viti Levu with the spade, knife, fork, and through their hard work you can see the big buildings around the country is through their hard work, through those Girmitiyas. During that time there wasn't any bulldozer in Fiji or any earth moving equipment, so they have sweat and they've used those tools like a fork, spade, and even the gravel they carry it on their backs and put it on the roads. So they have worked very, very hard, and through their effort, their hardship, you can see where the Fiji stands today. And Fiji is amongst other countries which can at least can't compete, but it can show that they have got far much better than the other islanders in the South Pacific. Right?
They have. So what was it like for Indians to live through the granting of independence? उसका मतलब
see, wait करना कौन सा बोल रहा है यार?
So independence.
After the independence, we are being brought in Fiji as indentured laborers. I mean, our forefathers were brought in Fiji as indentured laborers. So right from the beginning, we are treated through colonial times as second class or third class people, and even after independence for some time it was good, but after the coup which happened, this incident took place in 1987, people from the top level or the people with the dignity, they are thinking that they are considering us as a second class people of the country.